This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Shashina Rule. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, immigration officials in the country on high alert. They are in search of two Cuban men who have no legal status in the Bahamas, but who were released from prison under a Supreme Court justice order last week. Now, the leading immigration officials say the search is on as they could prove to be a threat to the security of this country. Joan Davis-Roll has our top story.
An intensive search for two illegal migrants underway. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, calling a press conference at the Ministry for Grand Bahama Friday morning to announce that the nationwide search continues for two Cuban nationals who were recently freed by the courts.
We will continue to try and defend our borders to be sure that only those persons who live here, who have the right to live and work here, are actually within the Bahamian borders. And immigration will seek always to defend the rights of Bahamians and also to enforce the immigration laws in such a way that it excludes those persons who are a risk to our country. The statement lists their history. They were removed from the prison because they attempted to burn the detention center down, and were instigating commotions and riots in the detention center. So they were removed from the prison to a safer place where they can be watched more carefully and kept under lock and key. So that's the reason. And if you look at their history, one of them was deported twice before from the Bahamas for being involved in smuggling. Another was involved in smuggling people, it appears, into the United States off of Andros. So, and had some experience in the Cuban military. So these are not people who without skills which could lead to incitement, and we simply do not want them in the Bahamas.
The minister says the latest intelligence revealed that the two men wanted by immigration officials were last spotted on a northern island.
They were last seen in Bimini, and when you're in Bimini, given what I've said about the pattern on these things, you know that where they're headed. So we notified all the authorities in Bimini, and we also notified the United States government that there may be an attempt by these people to smuggle themselves into the U.S.
The minister was asked why were the Cuban migrants, once released by the courts, not immediately handed over to the Immigration Department in New Providence.
The law on the matter was thrown into some disarray because of the nature of the order given. Ultimately, I'm advised that they can be rearrested, and I said in the House of Assembly that that's why we're searching for them. But when the release took place, that was not then something which, given the orders of the court, was part of the menu of possibilities available to the Department of Immigration. So to that extent, there was a lacuna or a gap until that issue was settled.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
Well, another group of Cubans picked up in Bahamian waters. This is the second group in as many days. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Williams Flores bringing the four Cuban men to Grand Bahama last evening. Now, reports say the men were spotted on Wednesday on board a rustic vessel near the Quezal Bank. They were picked up by the Coast Guard vessel and brought to the Lakine Harbor and turned over to immigration officials. The Cubans were processed overnight and have been flown to the capital, where they will be housed at the detention center. And Canadian Bruno Rufa, former condo owner at Coral Beach Condominiums in Freeport, was back before the court this week. You may recall that last February, Rufa was arraigned for working without a valid work permit and was ordered to leave the country. Late last year, Rufa was the subject of a judicial review as the court determined that he was deported by immigration officials without going through the right procedures. While Rufa will now be allowed to stay in the Bahamas until April 4th, that is when the Supreme Court will hand down its ruling in the judicial review into its decision made by the Department of Immigration to revoke Rufa's 150-day stay in the country. Justice Petra Hannah Weeks granted that injunction. Switching gears now, history about to be made on Grand Bahama as the National Training Agency expands to West Grand Bahama next week. Sessions will be held Tuesday, March 1st at the Treasure Plaza in Deadman's Reef. Officials appealing to persons to participate as a number of major projects are in the pipeline and the demand for skilled labor will increase. Joan Davis-Roll reports.
The program, which seeks to prepare persons between the ages of 17 and 26 with labor and life skills, is preparing to host some 150 persons. Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for West End and Bimini, the Honorable Obi Wolshcombe, is appealing to area youth to sign up and embrace this opportunity.
I want to encourage all constituents, young constituents in particular, young men, young women, to become a part of this program. I want them all from Hepburn Town to West End to join in, to become a part of this program. And don't be concerned about the things that you didn't do yesterday. Well, you have a chance to do it today. Don't be concerned that you failed and you didn't do well. You could be a second round and a slow starter, but you have an opportunity. Don't be concerned that you failed an exam. Nothing wrong with failing an exam. Get up, take it again. And don't be concerned that you don't have a certificate of graduation. Don't be concerned about that. What you do have is citizenship, and you have opportunity, and we can provide that opportunity for you now. Please join this program. Don't allow this opportunity to pass.
Office Manager at the NTA office here on Grand Bahama, Norma Pyfrom, says since the program's introduction on Grand Bahama March 6, 2014, the program has positively impacted the lives of many.
We enjoy working with the young people of Grand Bahama and have made a great difference in the lives of some of the young persons who have been trained by NTA in Grand Bahama. We salute the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Perry Gladstone Christie, the Minister of Labor and National Insurance, the Honorable D. Shane Gibson for their vision in allowing for the creation and the establishment of a national training agency, which is headed by our Executive Director, Ms. Agatha Marcel.
Joan Davis-Roll, ZNS Network News.
In news from the crime beat, a Grand Bahama man arrested on multiple charges. Around 6 o'clock Thursday morning, officers of Operation Turf Sweep, armed with a search warrant, went to a home on Ludford Avenue and discovered a large amount of U.S. and Bahamian currency, suspected to be the proceeds derived from crime. Officers also discovered a black silver pistol along with 9 live rounds of ammunition. Further investigations also led officers to a home near Coral Beach where another large sum of money was discovered. A 40-year-old male who resides at another residence was arrested and taken into police custody. The cash was confiscated and taken to the Drug Enforcement Unit. In another incident, officers, while in the area of Vallejo Road, observed a male acting suspiciously. He was stopped and searched, and officers discovered two clear plastic bags of suspected marijuana. He was arrested and taken into police custody. And a mother and son, residents of Bimini Hall, before the court in Freeport this morning on drug charges. 25-year-old Travis Ramsey of Carew Street and his mother, 66-year-old Rosalind Ramsey of Porgy Bay, Bimini, were arraigned before Magistrate Charlton Smith on charges of possession of drugs with the intent to supply. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 18 months behind bars and fined $5,000. Now, if he fails to pay the fine, he will have to spend an additional 8 months in prison. Charges against his mother were withdrawn. Stay with us. There's more news right after this.